Hey guys, Kev here, and it is finally time for the power bank video. So I've done some research. I've used these a lot, and I actually have links to every one of these things, except for maybe that one if I can't find the purchase history. This is an older one though. A lot of these are just like sort of nameless Chinese brands, I think, on Amazon. This one's Anchor, that one's Anchor. This is Shark Geek. So is this one. They're kind of like I don't know, it's kind of hipstery, but it's cyberpunk based stuff, and it's expensive, but it's cool shit. And then these are kind of just like your Chinese brands that have stuff on Amazon, but I looked at ratings and whatnot. I can't really figure out what is the best way to look at specs and figure out how they're good. And what I mean by that is I've had power banks. I had one for a long time I called Juice. It was a Pocket Juice, 20,000 milliamp. And that thing was an absolute tank. Like physically a tank and just pumped out power. That thing charged my phone, watch, everything for like a week nonstop. And it could do that no problem. And I've bought power bricks with the same amount of milliamp hours, even more milliamp hours. This one's 2860 and this one's 31, I think. Neither of these come close to that Pocket Juice that was at 20,000. And in my experience, this one up here is 20,000 milliamps, and it outperforms these two, which are higher, which is weird, right? So I thought maybe it had something to do with these watt hours, and maybe that was important. But the watt hours seems to kind of coincide with the milliamps. You have here 72 watt hours with 20,000 milliamps. And then this one has 40,000 milliamps, although the back is confusing as hell. It says 40K. They list it as 40,000 everywhere. But then on here it says 20,000. But then it has watt hours of 140, which tells me, you know, and then it says 10,000 milliamps, 4 pieces. So that tells you 40,000 milliamps. So there's 4 10,000 milliamp hour batteries like this. These are 5,000 ones, 4 of them, and that equals 20. So imagine 4 10,000 milliamp batteries. And this has 148 watt hours. So it kind of adds up, right? If you take 148, divide it by 2, you know, that would be what? 74. So if you have 74 so you have 148 for 40,000 milliamps and 74, this is 72 for 20,000. So it's very close to that number. So I don't know if the watt hours really mean anything either. So I'd love to know how you can figure out online how good a battery is going to be, because I feel like they're very hit or miss. This one here is 6,700 milliamps, 24.12 watt hours. So this one's not going to charge your phone a million times. You might get one solid charge out of it, maybe 1.5, depending on your phone. But it's solid. One thing I don't like is this is an old one, I guess. I didn't realize that when I bought it. But it has a micro and a USB-A. And that's important because you really kind of, these days, you want USB-C. They call this the candy bar one on Amazon from Anchor. And I just assumed it would have a USB-C, and I was an idiot. So I'll run through all these and tell you my thoughts on them. I will link basically every one of these down below if you want to pick one up. It will help the channel if you do that. I don't know how much. I don't think I've ever gotten like anything from Amazon before. I think maybe I've gotten like $50 total since I've had the affiliate link. So who knows? But price wise, I'm not 100% sure, but I think this one's like $25, 20, 25 maybe. This one was like 30, 40 bucks, something like that. These right here are all like sort of a Chinese Amazon brand, but they had good ratings, so that's why I went with them at the time anyway. So it was like 30 bucks with wireless charging. I thought that was cool. This one I think was 25. This one was more like 50, but that's because it has kind of like a cool design to it. There's some quirks with that one I'll tell you about. This one I can't remember. I've had this for a while. This was kind of the one I got to replace that pocket juice one, but then it wasn't as good, so I kind of just have had it downstairs, and it just gets used by all of us, and you can see it gets beat up. But my guess would be this one was around 30, 40 bucks as well. This guy right here was on sale for 80 bucks. It's an Anchor brand, so is this one, so they're a little bit more pricey. And then these two are Shark Geek. This is actually not a power brick. This is just a power adapter, which I want to talk about as well, because if you can go direct to power, you probably should, right? Because you're going to get most likely faster charging. You don't have to worry about recharging. Just a thought I wanted to put out there, but I got this during this whole thing, and I wanted to talk about it. This guy was 50 bucks-ish, 60 bucks, and then this was 150, but that was on sale, and it's usually like 200. And they have a bigger version that's basically 26,800 milliamps, not 20,000. This is a slim version, and that one's like 229. So if it's between this and the bigger one and it's a $30 difference, I would just get the bigger one. But since it was on sale for 150 bucks, I went for it. And this is totally unnecessary, guys. You can just get the, 20,000 milliamp Anchor or 2,800 Anchor or something. I don't think you need to spend 150 bucks. But there's some ones that I'll talk about that I think look cool and are cool. And, we're into gear and having cool stuff. So, maybe you want a pimped out power bank as well. It has a cool little screen, which is pretty dope. Let's see if I can show you. So it's based on Cyberpunk. So it has a Cyberpunk sort of readout and stuff. It even has a menu, which is fucking awesome. Look at this. You can actually flip around this screen. So I can hit here. I can have it go to sleep, do whatever, and then you can change the direction. So I can flip it around so that you can look at it this way if you wanted to, which is pretty cool. Then you can also power off the power bank, and you can exit the screen. And this has readings telling you the volts and all that stuff of each output. So you have two outputs. So if you had two of them going, it would show you like A and B basically. And right here, it'll tell you how many watts it's pumping out. So, like, let's just start with this one, I guess. Let me slide some stuff out of the way here. I don't have a lot of room, but let me just... Oh, no point in having them sitting here. It'll just look dumb. Okay. So if I take this cord right here, and I guess I could just charge another power bank with it. So we're at 99 right here. And then I have a USB-C right here. And if I take, actually, let's do this. I'll plug it into my MacBook. I have my little adapter thing here. Pop. So I'm going to pop that in. It's going to start charging my MacBook, and you're going to see this change. Right now, it's going to start jumping up because it's charging a MacBook, but the MacBook's not on. So it might know that it doesn't need to pump out that many watts. So it's just chilling at like 3 or 4 watts. It's going to charge the battery over. I don't know if this clock, it's counting up. So that's just a timer. I wish it would tell you how many hours you have left on the power bank or whatever at this amount of time or whatever. But anyway, it tells you USB-C, 3.1 watts. So now if I open the MacBook, let's just see what happens. Turn the screen on, and it jumped right away. You see that? It jumped up to 9. And there we go, 10. And my MacBook I think it has a 60 watt whatever in it. So I'm guessing the more I do, if I start like playing a video or something, just try that. I'll mute it though. I'm gonna mute it. So now it's playing a video. Maybe it needs a little more juice. Now the battery is fully charged on my MacBook, so it's not gonna need to do as much. But you can see it jumped up to 10.6, and that's all it needs right now, I guess, to keep it going and charge it. So it's just interesting, but I've seen it go up to like 50 before. I've used this during a live stream, and I've like charged my phone off the MacBook while this is charged. But I also, good question actually, I have this plugged into this thing that goes in my MacBook, and maybe this thing can't handle as much power. So let's see if I go direct into the MacBook. Let's see if it jumps. Okay, I just went direct, and this is like an anchor cord. So it should, I think this is a 100-watt cord here. Just trying to see what's going on. So we're still at the same readout. Nothing has changed. So just to double check, this here goes up to 140 watt output, which is important to note. Knowing how much output your cord can do and your power bank can do, because you don't want to be underpowered. So this can go up to 140. So we'll see if it sits at 7 or whatever, then we know that's just what it needs right now, because it's a fully powered battery. There's no reason for this guy to work harder than it needs to keep that battery at 100, right? That's all it's trying to do. So I probably should have waited till the battery died a little bit, but that's okay. So there you go, 7.5. So let me cancel that, shut this, and then I have an idea. Unplug this, and we'll plug in my phone. So let me grab. So we know my phone can go up to, I believe fast charging on an iPhone is like 23, something like that. Let's see. So we got that plugged in. It's resetting everything. We're at 9.9 again. And let's just see if it jumps up. So yeah, it's just chilling. I don't know. Oh, wait. There we go. So now it's bumping up watts output, because my phone is now being used as the camera, which takes up quite a lot of power, I've noticed, because I plug this in while I'm recording a lot, and you can see how much battery consumption recording video does. But you can see it's up to 20 watts at this point. So it needs that full power basically to keep the phone charging and while it's working. So I don't know if that was a little reset there. I don't know what happened, but anyway, that's kind of how that thing works, which is pretty cool. And I will say, unless you really care about knowing how much output you have, it's kind of useless. It's just a gimmick, right? I do like knowing the battery percentage versus like dots, but I wouldn't pay that much more just for the screen that really doesn't give me much information. What's interesting is it's saying 16.4 volts. I don't know where that is or what's going on, because nothing's plugged in. But maybe just because it's on, you know what I mean? Like, so now I can long press this and we can actually shut off the power bank, which is another thing I don't love, is that you have to kind of shut it off. But it's very interesting looking. It's cool. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the thing here. But $200, up to you how cool you think it is. But I do like it. That's the SharGeek Slim Storm 2 Slim, I believe it's called. That is what it's called. They're numbered. Like, I don't know. It's an interesting piece, and I enjoy it. What I like about this one, and the reason I got it, is the output. This can go 140 watt output max. And now I thought my MacBook was like 100 watt. It's really only 60. I don't know if the M1 chip that I have in there somehow makes it to where, I don't know if the M1 chip has done something to the MacBook where it doesn't need as much power. But I thought that the MacBook Pros used 100 watt, but maybe because I have a 13-inch, I don't know. But anyway, that's why I got this, because it can pump out at 140 watts at once out of one of these outputs. Now, if you had two things charging out of it, it could only do 140 total between the two, if that makes sense. One thing that you do want to note when you are using a power bank is if it has trickle mode or not, trickle power mode. And something like this, I don't think I have a USB micro here, but But something like this flashlight, sometimes, I don't know if you've ever noticed, if you've tried charging your Apple Watch or a small flashlight like this, some power banks, you'll be charging it and it'll just like charge for a second and then it'll cut off. And the problem is this charges at such a slow or such a low amount of power. It pulls such a low amount of power that the power bank doesn't actually think it's on. So the power bank will just cut off because it doesn't think it's doing anything. So some power banks, like this guy, let's enter this guy. This is the 40K Anker battery, but a lot of the Ankers have this feature. It's called trickle charge mode. And essentially, when you push this on, you'll see that's your readout for how many bars you have, essentially. So I only have 2 left on this guy right now. But I haven't charged this in over a week, more than that probably. And I did a whole live stream off of it before that. But you'll see it has those 2 bars. But if I double tap it, now you see that little green light. Hard for you to tell. There's the green light. And now it is in trickle charge mode, which means it will output very small amounts of power. It knows when there's a small output that it is charging something and it doesn't cut off. So now you can charge your iPhone or your Apple Watch or this thing and not have it cut off. That's what trickle charge mode is, if you ever see that. And then to turn it off, I think you just hold down to power off the power bank. There we go. Triple press to turn it off. And it'll just turn off by itself after a second. So that's cool. One thing I want to note about this guy is it has 2 outputs, which is a USB-C and a USB-A. The USB-C is the input, so if you're going to charge this, you charge it off a USB-C. It will not charge on the A, but you can output on both at the same time. Again, it's 140 watt output total. This guy here only has 30 watt output. But I found that that was actually enough for my MacBook during a live stream. It was charging the MacBook like past the point I was at. So like I'm using the MacBook and I had my phone charging on it at the same time on the MacBook. And this thing was able to keep up with that and push the battery percentage up as it went. And it only took like, I don't know, I did like a 3-hour live stream or something, 2 or 3 hours, and it only took like 2 or 3 bars off. So this thing could have done like 6 or 7 hour live stream. And then I would have had a full battery on the laptop as well. So this is a really good piece if you have a laptop in the smaller sector. If you have a huge like 15-inch MacBook Pro or something that's pulling 100 plus watts, then this is not going to be good for you. But even on my 60 watt MacBook Pro, this thing was fantastic. And that's why I actually got this, because I didn't think something like this would work. But it did. So this one's cool because it has 2 USB-Cs and 2 USB-As. So you can charge 4 devices at once. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I honestly never need to charge more than maybe 2. Sometimes I'll, if I'm on a trip or something, I'll charge my Apple Watch and my phone. At night, right? So I'll go to bed and I'll have this on the nightstand. Instead of being in a hotel and trying to find plugs and dick around, I just have everything hooked up to this, wrap the cords around, and this is kind of my power station when I go on a trip. Now, not this one specifically, because I haven't actually had a trip. I got this in the last couple of weeks. But like I've taken this one before, and you just wrap the cords around, and then you're good to go. Now, this does not have the trickle charge mode, and I had issues where it would not charge my Apple Watch. So, like, on this one, if I double tap, it just turns off. It doesn't, like, do anything. Hold down. There's no trickle charge mode on this. So, this would just cut off when I tried charging my watch on a trip I was on. And basically, my watch just was dead for the trip because I didn't have something to easily charge it. So anyway, this is cool because it has the 4 outputs, and then I think you can charge it with any of them, but I'm not positive. There is these different, it says IQ2, IQ3. I don't know all the indications. There's like the PD3 and stuff like that, which basically just means it can output at different higher wattage or whatever. But this one can do 30 watts, so this is going to be really good for iPhones, iPads, anything like that. even a smaller laptop like what I have, this will handle that easily. And the battery output is pretty incredible, I think, after testing it. At first, I thought it sucked, but I think I just wasn't paying attention because I charged it up. I had full bars, and then I filmed some videos for a few days, and I think I must have used it for like 4 days, 3 or 4 days, and recorded like 10 videos in that time, and I was charging every time I did that, and it was down to like 2 bars after all that, and I was like, damn, this thing sucks. And I think it honestly didn't. I think I just wasn't paying attention. So I did that test where I charged it up and I did the live stream, and I had this plugged in, and this thing just freaking soldiered through that, and it impressed the shit out of me. So honestly, the only downside to this is it's absolutely massive. This thing is freaking huge. So, for example, here's a pen from Nottingham Tactical. Here's a Brian Brown Knives Jaeger M. If you watch my channel, you might be into knives. I mean, this thing is an absolute just monster. It weighs quite a bit, So this basically just sits next to me over here, and it charges my shit when I, while I'm working or while I'm recording. I plug into it, and then if I do a live stream and I need it, I can take it wherever. But that is where this guy comes in. So I kept trying to find a power bank to work for my laptop while doing live streams, because in my office, my wife uses our office and I use our bedroom. I have a corner of our bedroom where I have an office set up. But when I do live streams, I do them in the office because she wants to go to sleep and I don't want to do it in here. So I have to crawl under the desk, unplug a bunch of shit, and it's just annoying. And then I kept having to reset her phone and shit for work. And so I was like, fuck that. I'm just going to get a power bank, and I'll just use a power bank during the live stream, keep my MacBook going, and we'll be good. And that's how this started. So I tried this guy. This thing couldn't even power the MacBook. It didn't even work. As far as I could tell, it didn't even charge. Same with this thing. Just wouldn't even turn on. Didn't even recognize it. These smaller ones just aren't going to work for that. And that's where I bought this one. And then I eventually bought this one. And then I realized, well, why don't I just be smart here? And why don't I just get a good power supply, power adapter, and then I can so I got one of those Anchor cubes that has 3 plugs, one on each side, and then it has 3 USBs on the top or whatever. And I got one of those, and I ran it from one of the spots on our surge protector there. That way I could leave all her stuff plugged in except one thing that I moved to this cube over, and I moved it over to the side of the desk. I bought this guy, and this guy goes up to 100-watt output, which again, my MacBook only needs 60 at best when it's at full power, right? Which it almost never does. And then if I have other stuff plugged in at the same time, right, it'll break up that 100 watts. So I'll have enough for the MacBook, basically, is the point. So I set up that cube from Anchor, plugged this into it, and then I got the USB-C output for my MacBook, and that basically charges the MacBook, and then I plug my phone into the MacBook, and it charges that. And then if we ever need anything else, we have 3 other plugs, right? So you have Max 100, Max 22.5. So these down here are basically what you want to use when you're charging your phone, probably. And then if you're charging other stuff like a laptop or whatever, you use these. And so you have the 1 plug and you have 4 output. So it makes more sense to get direct power from the wall than using a power bank. But I was just gung-ho about this power bank thing. So I bought all those, but I realized you could just get one of these. And it came with this really good USB-C to USB-C cable. And this can handle the 140 watt, right, output. Your normal sort of MacBook cable can do the same. What else? I also bought these. So that was this guy. This was $60. You can get power adapters that do 100 watts for less than that. This again is just kind of like a fancy looking one. I just got carried away. I bought these on Amazon because one thing I hate, if we transition to these smaller power banks now, one thing I hate is having all this cord that you have to wrap around. So like, you want to go on a walk and you need to charge your phone, right? Like you're listening to something and you need to charge your phone. I guess pretend this actually fits in here. It's the downside to this, by the way. But you have this plugged in, and then you got to, like, when you're not using it, you got to, like, wrap your cord all around it. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You try to tuck this shit in, and then, oh, this one actually comes with a really cool case. Well, I can't even, you know, I got to, like, try to jam this in. Fuck that, right? And it's just a pain in the ass to have this happening all the time, right? And then when you're charging, you have this plugged in, and then you have, like, your phone's, like, right here. And then you have all this extra cable. You know, what are you going to do with that shit while you're walking or, you know, pushing your stroller or whatever it is, driving, whatever it is? It's fucking annoying. So I was like, why don't I get some short cables? So I got these. This one is a USB-A to Lightning, and I got that specifically for this power bank. So now, when I go on a walk or whatever, I just plug my phone in, and then guess what? I just fold it up. This bends real easily. I just fold it like this, and I hold it. And now I have my phone, power bank, all in one little piece. And if I don't want to hold it, I can just hang this, put it in the cup holder, hold my phone like this, or put my phone here, like watching whatever, while this is in the cup holder, whatever, right? You have options, but this is perfect for that. And then, when I'm not using it, I can still just do this. And then I can just plug it in, even with it in the case. So now it's protected while I'm on a walk or whatever, in case I drop it, like I drop everything. I mean, it just works so well. So this is that candy bar anchor. I would recommend, if you get one of these, that you get the USB-C version. Apparently there is one. I kind of dragged Backpack B down this rabbit hole with me. He's a big Anchor fan. And he has one like this, same size, that's USB-C, apparently. So, that's the one I would get. But this does work, and you can use USB-A. It's not the end of the world. You know, you still get good whatever. I just like USB-C better. But I will say I've used this power bank quite a little bit. I've had it for a few weeks. I've used it a bunch of times, had to fully charge it a couple of times, and it's worked great. I mean, 6,700 milliamps isn't a ton, but it's charged my phone as much as I've needed it on, you know, a couple-hour drive, on 45-minute walks where my phone's just kind of dead before I start, shit like that. It does great. And then you just gotta, you know, the thing with these, it's not really about the capacity most of the time. It's honestly about the downside of having to recharge shit, right? Like, I could use this for right here when I work or when I record. I would just have to recharge this like every other day. Where with the bigger ones, I can use them for like a week and then have to recharge them, you know? So this is great. It's a good size, and that's kind of where you got to balance. Do you want size? Do you want weight? Do you want capacity? Do you want output? And you got to balance all that and decide what you want, and then find the product. So this is really good, this Anchor one. And then I got these two, which I got these along the same lines because I was like, damn, I hate having these cords wrapped around everything. What if they made ones where the cord was built in? Well, guess what? They do. So I was like, sweet. And I found this one, and this one has the same kind of like cyberpunk feel to it. It's a different brand, but same kind of deal. This one feels, in my eyes, it feels a little bit cheap-ish. Like they were just kind of trying to money grab here. Now, it does have 22.5 watt output. I believe that. It's charged my phone just fine. It says adaptive quick charging. Again, I believe that. It's charged my phone like 2 times now. I think it's at 34%. I've charged it fully once or twice, so I haven't used the shit out of some of these. So, you know, bear that in mind. But it's worked pretty good. Now, it has a USB-C built in right here, and then it has a lightning cable built in right here. So, pretty sweet. And then it has USB-A right here and another USB-C, which you can use as an input to charge it. And then these just pop down like this. And they're made perfectly to pop off, plug into your phone, and then fold your phone right onto it, and then you're good to go. Or you can dangle if you want. Now, the one quirk I found with this one was when I plug my phone in, it has to be plugged in one way or the other. Like, so I have to have it with the screen facing out, I think, like this. So I plug it in, phone like this. If I plug it in, phone like this, it doesn't charge. It doesn't even read. It's very weird. I don't see anything different. Like, I don't know why. But that tells me something's a little bit weird about it. And then there was one time where I plugged this in and my phone said lightning cable wet. Not charging. Like, so they cut off charging because the lightning cable was wet or something. And they said we need to give it time to dry out, and then, you know, you can use it again. Now, I haven't had that problem again, but it was a little weird. I mean, my cable or my connector wasn't wet, but I did kind of clean the lint out of my cable, my connector recently. So maybe it had something to do with that, because in my car, my CarPlay wasn't connecting all the time, and I fished out a little bit of lint. I think maybe that's what it was. So that could be what that was about. But it's still, I tested it after, it still only works the one way. I don't know, it's weird. And it's like $50, and it's still only 10,000 milliamps. So it's kind of, again, just like a cool factor. So that's kind of up to you if you would be into this. But it is cool, and I do like it, and it works pretty well, as long as you plug it in the right way. Now, this guy I really like. This one I've used, I don't know, I've charged 2 or 3 times at this point. I love that it has a readout, simple readout, 100%, whatever. It apparently does have a trickle charge mode built in, like it just knows. I haven't really been able to test that. I don't think, is there, well, we can find out. Is there a micro USB? No. So, wait, maybe. Hold on. This is a USB-C, though, I think. So, this is the only downside to this one. Sometimes it's hard to get these off. So, here you have a USB-C that pops in here, which is cool. On this side, you have a lightning cable that pops in. So, again, if you have smaller hands, I think it's a little bit easier. I struggle to get these out sometimes. There we go. And there's your lightning. So, simple to just, you know, plug in and you're good to go. This one you can plug in any direction you want. And it does have this kind of cord thing here, so you can tighten this or loosen it to make it like, you know, less cable or more cable, whatever you want. The USB-C has a little more cable to it. And then, so then I was like, well, how the hell do you charge this thing? Well, this whole piece comes out, and this is actually a USB-A plug right here. So now you have a USB-A plug if you had your own cable you wanted to use or something like that. And obviously, I think, oh no, and then you have a USB-C here to charge it or as an output if you want. Now, I did try to use, I forget what I tried to do. It didn't work though. Like, I think I tried, I tried to plug this into here and then use this to charge. And it doesn't read that way. So if I plug this in right now, it's not going to like kick on. It doesn't work that way. That cable is only going from here to there or here to there. So you have to plug it in this way and then plug in. Watch, I'll show you if I can. I don't know if you'll be able to see the screen though. And it kicked on. I can't show you, but it kicked on. So you just have to use it plugged in that way, or use your own cable or whatever you want. But I just think it's kind of cool that it does that and it has that feature. So you got a lot of options with this one built in. And that's what really intrigues me about these kinds, is that you have it all built in. So you don't have to worry about, like, do I have this cable with me? Do I have this with me? You automatically have, you know, a C, a lightning, and an A. I'm guessing if you plug the C in, maybe you can use the A. I don't know. I'd have to test that, but you just have a lot of options. Then you have the ports you can use as well. And it's small and compact. It has 10,000 milliamp hours. And I've really enjoyed this. This is probably my favorite smaller size power bank I've ever tried. So I will link this guy down below as well. Really digging on this one. And it's like 25 bucks. I mean, it's a deal. So that brings us to the two that I bought before all this started. This one I don't recommend at all. I just haven't had a great experience. It's supposed to be 26 or 28,000 milliamp hours. And I've never had this thing, like I could charge my phone maybe 2 times, 3 times tops with this, with 26,800 milliamps or 28.6. It should charge your phone like 5, 6 times at least on that, and it doesn't. It just doesn't. So it either loses a lot of just battery in, transition, or it just sucks in general. On top of that, it only has 2 USB-A's and a micro. So you don't even have USB-C on this. It's just an older model. I've had this for a few years. I don't know the model name. If I could get it for you, it's the... Oh, here we go. It's the MB072B. So if that helps. It is lithium polymer, which is kind of the newest technology there. It does say 99.16 watt hours, 26,800. I just haven't noticed that, I really haven't noticed that. Plus, the output cannot be very high. It's probably not even going to tell us. Micro input. Where's the output? USB output, 5 volt. USB output, 5 volt. So it's just, it's just not very good, in my opinion. But it has worked for years and kind of held up. So there is that to be said for it. So I don't even know if I can find that one to link it. And then last but not least, we do have this guy. Now, I did want to show you this as well. I got this one that's USB-C to USB to Lightning. So I have the USB-A one and the USB-C. And so you can get these in different configurations. They have USB-C to USB-C if you're a Samsung guy or whatever. And these are just great for, having the short cable kind of deal. So I will link these as well if I can remember all this stuff. One other thing I got was this really cool little, it's like this big, and you can hang it on your keychain. And it's basically like this, but it's micro, and it has a USB, I think, USB-A and USB-C, and then it has a lightning adapter you can pop on. So you basically have everything you need to charge shit. If you're in a pinch, you just have this on your keychain and it covers you. I will link that as well. But yeah, then there's this one, and these are the ones you can get that have like wireless charging, which is pretty cool. So you can just drop your phone on here, or say, I don't have my AirPods, but you can just drop your AirPods on and they will wirelessly charge on here, which is cool. And then this will read out 100%, and then it'll have a little thing with a circle that'll tell you it's wirelessly charging. It'll tell you right here if it's output or if it's having power come in. It does have a USB-C. It has a USB micro. It has 2 USB-A's. So this one's pretty modernized. It's pretty good, honestly. It does have the PD USB-C, so that's good. It means it has a decent amount of power. I think that means it can do 22 or so watts. This is 113 watt hours. Let's see if we can find the output. Type C output, 12 volt. I don't know. I can't tell what any of this shit means. I'm not an expert. Sorry. You can read that though. These are all made in China probably. So, yeah, wireless charging output, 15 watt max. And this one, the product name is Powerbank HX160Q2 if you want to check it out. 30,800 milliamps. And this one's been okay. It just, in my opinion, for 30,000 milliamps, it just doesn't have that type of, it just doesn't feel like it has that much power. This one I was telling you about right here has 20,000 and seems to have more power in it. Charges my phone more, etc., right? And then this guy's only 10,000 milliamps more, but somehow it's, and that's just freaking out. It's just because of the camera. It doesn't look like that in person. But how did they fit 30,000 in here and they fit 40,000 in here? And this is absolutely massive. So, like, what are they doing? The only thing I can think of is that this is lithium polymer. I don't know if it'll tell us. Lithium battery capacity. So it doesn't even tell you if it's polymer or lithium ion. That's the only thing I can think of, is that this is lithium ion. And so it takes up more space than lithium polymer. In case you guys don't know, lithium polymer is like the newest type of technology where they were able to get more power into smaller batteries, where lithium ion is the older technology. So maybe that's the reason why this one is like 3 times as thick for only 10,000 milliamp more. But honestly, what I think is this is more like 10,000 milliamps, and they bullshit you and tell you it's 20. And this is actually 40. You know what I mean? So there you have it, guys. That's a freaking rundown of all of these power bricks, power banks, all this stuff that I have tested in the last month or so. Some of these I've had for years. And, you know, what would I recommend out of the group if that's kind of what you're here for? I would recommend this one just because it's cool, but only if you're somebody who's willing to spend that kind of money. If you don't mind the space, I absolutely do think this is a premium power, or not a premium. I think it's a fantastic power bank. Everything except the size and weight is fantastic, is what I would say. And as long as that doesn't matter to you, like it's not going to be it's not going to be on the move a lot, then I think it's fine. If you're in a situation where where you can't plug your phone in while you're recording without having cables all over you, and it's just easier to have it off to the side right here, that's where this is perfect. Or when I need to do a live stream somewhere random, perfect. Same with this, right? But if you just need something to charge your phone, I don't think you need to go crazy. I think something like this is fine. If you trust Anker, just get any of the Anker ones. But honestly, this is the sweet spot for me. If you're just charging your phone and you maybe, charge up your phone from like 50% to 100 once a day, this will probably get you through a week or so. Maybe not a week, but and it's easy to charge it. You just pop it in USB-C to something you have laying around. Like I have USB-Cs everywhere. So I can just charge these in between shit. This one's really good. I really like this. And it looks cool, and it just has the cords. And this one's like a home run to me, personally. The power adapter is very cool. That's obviously the best option, is to just have a good power adapter. The key to power adapter is that you're getting enough output. So like if I have this plugged in and I charge one of these, it charges so much faster because this can charge at 140 watts. So I can charge this thing in like an hour. I can charge this guy in a couple hours. Whereas if I plug this into the USB-C that's coming out of my my home base thing that I use for work, this will take like 2 days to charge. You know what I mean? So the output on how you're charging your stuff also matters. So these are really good for that, power adapters. But yeah, I'd recommend this guy first, I think. And then if you're a nut like me, I would recommend the big version of this one. And I would definitely recommend this for $80. And then there's one other one I want to try. It's called the Zender Super Tank. And it's like this size, I think. And it just sounds really good, really cool. I've seen it recommended. I haven't tried it, though. But it's Zendure Super Tank. And it looks like a freaking tank. So I'll link that as well, I think. I'll try to link all this. I might forget. But this has been an absolutely super long video. I apologize. I know some of you don't care at all about power banks, but you're probably not here anymore anyway. If you are here, thank you guys. Really appreciate the support. I know some of you watch every video and probably don't even like some of the stuff I talk about, and that means the world to me. So if you guys want to give me like a thumbs up, subscribe, do all that stuff, thank you very much. If you have any questions about this, please hit me up. I'll answer them as best I can. I am not an expert by any means. So if you are, I would love to hear about it down in the comments. Make a video yourself and explain things that I don't understand, because that would be helpful, because I feel like it's very vague and it's very confusing as to what is a good power bank and what isn't, because like 10,000 milliamps, that just doesn't mean anything to me anymore. Everything has 10,000 milliamps. Then it's like, what's the difference, right? Like, what's the difference? Just how it looks, the brand, like durability. I don't know. It's a very interesting topic, and that's what intrigues me, right? Any kind of rabbit hole I can go down. So that's it. I love you guys. I truly appreciate all the support. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will catch you later.